That night, sleep eluded me. I sat in my house in a quiet suburban neighborhood, a string of prayer beads clutched tightly in my hand. With every bead, I whispered the same words. Lord, grant me patience. Lord, let my heart not darken. Lord, let no creature touch me without your permission, not me, nor those you have entrusted to me. Across from me, my father sat, the flickering lamplight casting shadows across his weathered face. His eyes held both pride and worry. He finally spoke. Son, this path is yours now. Even if I wanted to help, I cannot. I'm getting old. But know this, you are not alone. You wear your father's coat, you carry patience in your heart, and above all, you have the Lord. I knelt before him and pulled on the coat. It felt heavier than I expected, as if every thread pressed into my chest. Sometimes I could barely breathe, but I understood this burden wasn't mine alone. It had been entrusted to me. You know better than anyone the first time I faced this, I whispered in my heart. You sent me to many places. You guided me along paths to free me from this trouble. I followed, and I learned patience. Pray for me, Father. If I die, don't cry for me. Tell my son, he fought for humanity and became a martyr on this path. My father gave a small, weary smile. Son, God does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. If the weight on your shoulders feels heavy, be thankful, you are not carrying it alone. God carries it with you. On this path, my greatest advantage was my father himself. If he hadn't been my mentor and guide, who knows where I might have ended up. That thought brought me some relief. My heart calmed, but still, I am only human. People fear. They sense the weight of what I carry. My father used to say, no matter what happens, the sun rises again tomorrow. I hoped it would rise for me once more. Maybe I would reach the point of confronting Shamhureş. If not, then the enemy was too strong for me, I could not defeat him. But perhaps a great victory awaited, though it might come at the cost of life. I prayed until dawn, not once blinking. I inhaled deeply. Lord, you gave your life for me, where are you? Memories of Kadir surged, and my chest ached. He was gone, but sometimes I felt a presence watching over me. My kind-hearted friend, how I wished he were here. If only he could help me. When my heart finally calmed, I performed ablutions and offered 2 units of prayer. I lingered in prostration longer than usual, whispering. Lord, even if this path ends with my life, let me meet martyrdom with patience. There were only 2 possibilities, either I would die as a martyr or achieve victory. God, give me strength and wisdom. Comfort the faith-filled heart you planted in me. By noon, I had not left my house. My father embraced me at the door. Son, the road ahead is harsh, but victory is in God's hands. Walk with patience, he said. Later that afternoon, a group of young men from the town where the mentors train, the lodge, arrived at our house. Master Ismail, everyone in town wants to see you. People are scared. They want to pray with you, to stand with you, shoulder to shoulder, one said nervously. My father urged me forward. Bring them patience in their hearts, he told me. I walked into the town square. People had gathered, women with tears streaming down their faces, children clinging to their mothers, and young men standing pale and tense. I stepped to the center and lifted my hands. Friends and neighbors, I began, tonight a great trial awaits. I will go alone. I carry nothing but God's name and the protection granted by these seals. All I ask of you is your prayers. They are stronger than armies. A woman cried out, Teacher, if you go, you may not return. What will we do without you? I looked into her eyes. Sister, even if I don't return, God will guide me. He will not abandon his servant. Have patience. Pray. Hands rose across the square. A chorus of Amen echoed, lifting toward the sky and settling in my heart. As dusk fell, I returned home. My father stood at the door. Son, your time is short. Make your preparations, he said. In my room, I studied the flowing threads of the coat I wore. Each seal shimmered faintly. The seal of light pulsed over my chest like a heartbeat. The seal of time turned slowly, almost imperceptibly. The seal of blood seemed to pulse through my veins. A talisman ring along the fabric sparked with energy. I placed my hands over it, wiping my tears. Lord, this coat is woven not from power alone, but from patience. If I falter, let it not bind me, but guide me. Grant me patience. I set the coat aside and prayed, smoothing its surface with my hands. Kadir wasn't here. My father could not accompany me. But I knew God was watching. May God sustain our victories, I whispered, sliding the coat back on. A chill ran through me as the threads touched my skin. It felt alive, sinking into my veins, warming my heart. Night drew close. My father appeared once more. Go, and walk with patience. Your steps are not yours alone, they are the steps of those who will come after you. I kissed his hands. Forgive me if I walk toward martyrdom. Do not cry for me. May it be blessed, my son. You walk for God. How could I not bless you, he said. I raised you for moments like these. I left for the hill where the confrontation would take place. The town was quiet, people peeked through windows, holding their breath. A child opened a door a crack and whispered, God protect Master Ismail. The words pierced me, and tears stung my eyes. Darkness swallowed the road. No moon. The stars hid as if to avoid witnessing the battle. Each step I took made the coat's seals quiver. The seal of light warmed my heart, the seal of time slowed my pace, the seal of blood tingled through my veins. I reached the hill around 4 a.m. Suddenly, the earth split, and a black smoke poured from the center. From the smoke emerged Almasp, a monstrous entity, eyes blood-red, arms fiery, tongue like smoke. Hatred twisted its face. Finally, you've come, it roared. You destroyed my forces. Now it's your turn. My heart raced, but I lifted the finger of testimony toward heaven. I come, but I do not come alone. God is with me. Almasp laughed, a sound that made the surrounding trees tremble. Tonight will be your end. I have the permission of Shamhureş. You will fall. I inhaled, steadying myself. Lord, if this is my end, let me die in your name. Let me taste the sweetness of martyrdom at least. And thus, the battle began. The hill was silent, save for the trembling of the earth beneath my feet. The first breath of battle came as Almasp's eyes flared, blood-red, and it roared a sound that shook the surrounding trees. The town below seemed miles away, yet I could feel their prayers pushing me forward. Almasp! I shouted, raising the coat's seals like banners of defiance. You may trust your power, but I stand with God. The creature moved like a storm. Its claws dug into the ground, lightning sparks flickering around its fiery limbs. Seals will not save you. I wield the fury of centuries. You are nothing. But I had patience. The seal of light glowed on my chest, forming a shield around my heart. Seal of time slowed my perception, letting me dodge attacks that would have torn flesh. Seal of blood flared whenever Almasp's minions struck, incinerating them on contact. Almasp lunged, its massive hand swinging like a wrecking ball. I fell back but steadied myself, fingers brushing the threads of the coat. The threads pulsed, whispering, "Hold on. Be patient. God is with the patient. Time seemed to fracture. Trees stretched and snapped, rocks spun in midair, and for a moment I felt the dizziness of reality bending. Almasp's voice thundered, mocking me, even your patience will break. The seals may protect your body, but not your soul. I knelt briefly, reciting verses. Each word was a blade of light, cutting through the shadows that sought to cloud my mind. Faces appeared, my mother crying, my father accusing, my friend Kadir lying in blood, but I knew these were illusions, tricks to test my resolve. The seal of light flared violently, burning the images away. The creature unleashed thousands of black-winged minions, rushing like a plague. The seal of blood reacted instantly, every touch ignited the attackers, leaving nothing but smoke and ash. Yet Almasp only laughed, feeding their revival from its own dark essence. Pain tore through my body as it struck me directly. Ribs ached, the ground split under its tail. Yet, each time I invoked God's name, the coat responded. Threads flared, creating barriers of light that slowed and deflected attacks. I realized then, the battle was not only physical but mental. Almasp sought to break my spirit, using deception and fear. Your friends, your family, your town, they accuse you, it boomed. But I whispered, Lord, you are my shield. My heart belongs to you. At the peak of its fury, I enacted the final part of my plan. I loosened the coat, letting the threads and seals fall to the ground. Almasp's eyes widened as it realized the trap. When it lunged for me, the seals activated, forming luminous rings that bound the creature. Foolish Hüddam, it hissed, thrashing. You have no power without your protections. I rose, tears streaking my face, and whispered a forbidden invocation, a name entrusted by Kadir long ago, Haker. A bright shaft of light split the sky, descending like a sword of divine authority. From that light, Kadir appeared, not as the friend I had lost, but as a being of radiant power, pure light surrounding him. Master, he said, his voice rolling like thunder. By God's will, I have come. Almasp shrieked in fear. Its fury could not withstand this light. With Kadir's presence, the battle shifted. Minions burned away, the ground calmed, and for the first time, I felt hope surge through me. I collapsed to my knees, exhausted but unwavering. Kadir approached, his radiant form towering yet familiar. I hugged him, weeping. God bless you, I whispered. Thank you for returning. Together, we watched as Almasp's massive form struggled against the divine light. Each strike from Kadir disintegrated its dark minions. The mountain-sized creature flailed, but it was no match. Eventually, a final bolt of heavenly light split its chest, and Almasp disintegrated into black smoke that dissolved into the wind. Silence returned. Stars shone again, the earth steadied, and the air felt cool and gentle. Kadir stood beside me, transformed, radiant beyond imagination. The battle is not over, he said, but faith and patience have prevailed tonight. There is still Shamhureş to face, yet we have seen what trust in God can accomplish. I nodded, still trembling. The town below remained unaware of the miracle that had just unfolded on the hill. Together, Kadir and I began the journey back, ready to plan our next move against the ultimate enemy. The journey back to the city was silent, save for the soft hum of Kadir's radiant energy beside me. The streets of New Haven, my hometown now, looked ordinary, yet I knew that the world had changed tonight. Shadows no longer held sway, and the faint glimmer of hope lingered in the corners of the town that had been haunted by fear. Master, Kadir said, his voice calm but commanding, the people below are unaware of what transpired. It will take time for them to understand the scope of what you accomplished. I nodded. The townspeople had long depended on the local protectors, the ones trained in the ways of patience, discipline, and faith, but tonight they had seen nothing. And yet, their prayers had helped me endure. We cannot underestimate the next threat, I replied, adjusting the remnants of my coat. Shamhureş watches, and Almasp was only the opening. We arrived at my father's house. The door opened slowly, and he froze for a moment, eyes wide at the sight of Kadir's radiance beside me. Is that, he stammered. Yes, father, I said, bowing slightly. Kadir has returned, by God's will. We have defeated Almasp, but our work is far from over. My father's chest heaved, relief and awe mixing. God is truly with you, my son. The town, they need to see this, but not yet. Rest. Gather strength. Plan. Inside, the house smelled of warm wood and old books. I sat by the window, looking out over the quiet streets. Lights flickered in homes, families unaware of the cosmic battle that had just unfolded. Kadir hovered nearby, luminous but patient. Master, we need to prepare for Shamhureş. This enemy is ancient, cunning, and ruthless. We will need allies, strategy, and the full extent of our abilities. Allies. I mused. The protectors of New Haven, the students at the lodge, and those who walk the path of patience. We must train them, equip them, and unite them. Kadir nodded. And we must understand Shamhuresh's weaknesses. Knowledge, strategy, and faith will be our greatest weapons. We cannot rely solely on raw power. Even I, radiant as I am, cannot face him without planning. I closed my eyes, recalling every detail of the battle. Almasp had tested not only our strength but our resolve, patience, and faith. I realized the importance of endurance and the necessity of seeing beyond immediate threats. We will start with reconnaissance, I said aloud. I will gather the protectors, Kadir will train them in the use of divine energy. Then we will create a network, spies, watchers, and sentinels. Knowledge is the first line of defense. That night, I walked through the city streets alone, reflecting. The neon lights flickered against the darkened sidewalks, the distant hum of traffic a gentle reminder of ordinary life. Children slept unaware of the cosmic battles their city would one day witness. Mothers and fathers tucked them in, their prayers forming an unseen shield. Lord, I whispered, grant me wisdom and patience. Let me not falter in the trials ahead. The next morning, the town square was alive with murmurs of curiosity and hope. Word of a miraculous light descending over the hill had spread. People came forward, hesitant but eager to witness the protectors. I raised my hands. Brothers, sisters, your prayers have always been our strength. Today, we prepare for a greater challenge. Stand with patience, with faith, and trust in God. Kadir stepped forward, radiant light washing over the crowd. People of New Haven, fear not. We face enemies unlike any seen before. But together, with faith and discipline, we will protect our city and our future. The protectors gathered at the lodge, training with focus and intensity. Kadir taught them how to channel divine light, how to synchronize their movements, and how to shield their hearts from deception and fear. I led strategy sessions, mapping Shamhuresh's known patterns, his previous attacks, and potential vulnerabilities. Every night, I prayed, invoking guidance and clarity. Master, Kadir said one evening, hovering by the window, the moment is approaching. Shamhureş will test everything. You, me, and the protectors must be ready to endure trials beyond comprehension. Our faith will be our greatest weapon. And patience, I replied. We have patience. It is what carried me through Almasp's rage and will carry us through the darkness to come. Days passed as preparation intensified. The city felt a quiet anticipation, the air thick with tension yet illuminated by hope. Allies arrived from neighboring towns, bearing knowledge, relics, and strength. Together, we formed a network, a united front. Each person had a role, some as watchers, some as fighters, some as guardians of sacred knowledge. The sun rose over New Haven, a symbol that despite shadows and chaos, light persisted. Shamhureş was still out there, scheming, patient as he waited for weakness. But we, united in faith and training, would face him together. Tonight, the city rested. Tomorrow, the war for its soul would begin. The night air in New Haven was thick with tension. Streetlights flickered against the dark skyline, casting elongated shadows across the empty streets. From the lodge's rooftop, I watched the city breathe quietly, unaware that an ancient malevolence stirred nearby. Kadir floated beside me, his radiant light faintly illuminating the surrounding rooftops. "Master," Kadir said, "Shamhureş has sensed our growing strength. He moves like a shadow in the wind. We must act before he strikes, or the city will suffer." I tightened my grip on the relic I wore beneath my coat, feeling the residual energy of the seals. "We've prepared as much as possible. Tonight, we test both our faith and our strategy." A sudden tremor rippled through the city. Windows rattled, and street signs swayed violently. From the darkness, a wave of black mist surged toward the city center. Shamhureş had arrived. He appeared as a shifting silhouette, taller than any skyscraper, his form ever-changing, eyes glowing like molten metal. The ground beneath his feet cracked with every step. "So, the little master of patience dares challenge me," Shamhuresh's voice boomed, echoing between buildings like rolling thunder. "I have watched centuries pass, and yet you think you can oppose me?" "I am not alone," I replied, raising my hands. The relic beneath my coat glowed faintly, resonating with Kadir's light. "God is with me, and we stand together to protect this city." With a roar, Shamhureş unleashed a storm of shadows. They moved like serpents, striking at the streets, devouring concrete and asphalt. Cars lifted into the air and splintered into shards. I called upon the light Kadir had taught me to channel. Circles of radiant energy erupted around me, repelling the shadows, each strike sending echoes across the city. "Kadir!" I shouted, "We must divide his attention. Draw him to the open plaza." He nodded, a blinding flash of white light streaking across the rooftops as he engaged Shamhureş directly. The Shadow Lord's eyes fixed on him, and the streets became a battlefield of light and darkness. Shamhuresh's attacks bent reality, cars froze midair, lampposts twisted like vines, and entire city blocks flickered between the present and a shadowed alternate dimension. "Master," Kadir called out, his power bends time itself. "You must focus your faith, not just the relics." I took a deep breath, centering myself. Closing my eyes, I whispered prayers, feeling the city's heartbeat beneath my feet. "Lord, guide our steps. Let patience and faith be our shield." The relic blazed, and the energy formed protective arcs that radiated outward. Shadows dissolved into smoke when they touched the light, and people watching from their windows felt a wave of calm despite the chaos. Shamhureş roared in fury. The ground cracked beneath him, and he lashed out with a hand that split the street in two. I leaped from rooftop to rooftop, narrowly avoiding the crushing blow. "He is testing us," I murmured. "We must endure until the right moment." Kadir's light flared brighter, striking Shamhuresh's core. The Shadow Lord staggered but adapted quickly, morphing his body into dozens of smaller forms that darted through the streets. I realized this was a battle of endurance and strategy, not mere strength. Each shadow form had to be contained without losing focus. "Master, the plaza!" Kadir shouted. I nodded and sprinted through alleys, avoiding falling debris and flickering shadow tendrils. I reached the city square, where the open space would allow Kadir and me to combine our powers efficiently. Shamhuresh's forms followed, converging into a towering, chaotic figure. Now, Kadir! I yelled. He released a beam of pure radiance that anchored the shadows in place. I combined my own light with the relic's energy, forming a protective cage. The combined power held Shamhureş momentarily, but he howled in defiance. The cage trembled under his immense force. "Patience and faith," I whispered, "do not fail me now." My prayers strengthened the energy, reinforcing the cage. Shamhureş thrashed violently, tearing parts of the cityscape around him. I felt exhaustion gnawing at my bones, but Kadir's presence reminded me that surrender was not an option. "Master, we must exploit his overconfidence," Kadir shouted. "While he focuses on breaking the cage, a single strike at his core can destabilize him." I nodded. Timing, patience, and faith, the lessons of every battle converged into this moment. We waited as Shamhureş raged, each swing and roar a test of our endurance. Then, as he lunged to break the cage, I released the relic's stored energy with Kadir's guidance. A beam of divine light struck Shamhuresh's chest directly. The Shadow Lord froze, screeching, his forms dissolving into nothingness. For a brief moment, the city fell silent. Dust settled over shattered streets. People peered from windows and rooftops, astonished and trembling, sensing the presence of something greater than themselves. Kadir hovered beside me, still glowing. "This is only the beginning," he said, "but you have shown the strength of faith and patience. We are ready for the trials to come." I nodded, looking over New Haven. The city had survived its first night against Shamhureş, and for now, the people were safe. But I knew deep down that the true war was far from over. Shamhureş had been tested, but he would return, and next time, the challenge would be greater. "We will be ready," I whispered. "With faith, patience, and unity, no shadow can consume us." The morning sun barely pierced the gray clouds over New Haven. Streets were scarred from the night's battle, cars overturned, windows shattered, and fires still smoldered in alleyways. Yet, despite the chaos, the city's heartbeat persisted. People emerged cautiously, whispering prayers and stories of the lighted master who had protected them. Kadir and I walked among the ruins, his radiant glow subdued to a soft luminescence. He scanned the horizon with eyes sharper than any human's. "Master," he said, "Shamhureş has retreated, but that does not mean he is gone. Every shadow has a plan, and he is preparing a greater one." I nodded, my mind replaying every strike and every trick from last night. "We have survived the storm, but the storm is only gathering strength. We need more than light and faith, we need understanding." Our first stop was the old harbor, a deserted area of the city now filled with remnants of broken ships and abandoned warehouses. I had sensed a disturbance here during the battle, a trace of time manipulation left behind by Shamhureş. The ground shimmered in subtle waves, invisible to ordinary eyes but perceptible to those attuned to the spiritual currents. "These ripples," I murmured, kneeling, "he experiments with time. He is learning, adapting. We must understand how to counter it." Kadir nodded. "His power stems from fear and memory. He can manipulate the past to unsettle you. If you give in to doubt or guilt, he gains strength." I clenched my fists. Memories from my childhood flashed, alleys where I first trained, my father's eyes when he taught patience, even the streets where I had first encountered minor spirits. "We can't let our past be used against us," I said firmly. "Every lesson, every prayer, is a shield." From the shadows, a figure emerged, an old man in a hooded coat, leaning on a cane. His eyes glimmered with intelligence, and he radiated a calm energy. "Hüddam," he said, voice carrying both warning and respect. "You've faced the first wave, but the storm behind him is older than this city. He is a remnant of powers that once ruled continents. If you do not prepare, you will be crushed." "Who are you?" I asked. A guardian, he replied, or at least, I was once. My name is Elias. I have watched the rise and fall of shadows like Shamhureş. I can teach you, but the lessons will demand sacrifice. Kadir looked at me. Master, we must consider his offer. Every ally, every wisdom can tip the scales. I studied Elias. His presence exuded authority and truth. Finally, I nodded. Teach us. We must be ready for the next assault. Elias led us into an abandoned warehouse overlooking the harbor. Dust and rust filled the air, but beneath it, a network of glowing sigils had been carved into the floor. He gestured for me to stand within them. These are conduits of the city's past, he explained. Shamhureş taps into them, twisting time to create illusions and fear. To defeat him, you must bind your mind and anchor it to the present. Only then will your faith manifest without distortion. I closed my eyes, feeling the hum of the sigils through my feet. Memories of my father, of Kadir's guidance, of every lesson in patience and surrender, washed through me. My heart beat steadily. My breathing synchronized with the rhythm of the city itself. Good, Elias said. Now, confront the memory he will try to use against you. He will bring forth those you've lost, those you fear to face. But remember, his illusions are only as powerful as your doubt. The air thickened. Shadows swirled into recognizable shapes, my father's stern gaze, the image of Kadir before his first death, even Almasp's burning face from the previous battle. My chest tightened, but I forced my thoughts back to the present. Lord, I whispered, my past is yours, my strength is yours, and my path is yours. The shadows hesitated, flickering as if uncertain. Kadir's light flared beside me, steady and warm. See, he said softly. Faith anchors you. They cannot bind what is steady. Elias smiled, his hood falling back slightly. You have learned patience and endurance, but now you must learn strategy and timing. Shamhureş will not attack randomly. He will seek a place where the city itself bends to his will. You must predict his moves and prepare traps, not of light alone, but of wisdom and timing. I nodded. Then we prepare. We turn the city into a shield, a snare, a sanctuary. Every street, every rooftop, every alleyway becomes part of the battle. Kadir hovered above me, wings of light folding inward. Master, if Shamhureş tests the city, he will find not just a servant, but an entire people armed with faith. That is the power he fears most. The sun broke through the clouds briefly, reflecting off the water of the harbor. It felt like a promise, the city, though scarred, could rise again. And so could we. Let him come, I whispered, but he will find no weakness. Only patience, only faith, only light. The shadows of the past receded, but the lessons lingered. The next wave was coming, and we would meet it, not with fear, but with preparation and unwavering resolve. The city of New Haven woke under an uneasy dawn. Smoke lingered in the streets like a stubborn fog, and the distant wail of alarms echoed off the concrete canyons. The night's destruction had left the downtown area in ruins, but the people were stirring. Word had spread, a master of light had defended them, and the shadows had been repelled, for now. Kadir and I stood on the roof of the old city library, surveying the skyline. From this vantage, the city felt alive, like a giant organism waiting for the coming storm. Master, Kadir said, Shamhureş will strike from above, below, and within. His next attack will not just test us, it will test everyone here. I clenched my fists, determination surging through me. Then we prepare not just to fight, but to defend. Every street, every building, every citizen will be a part of this battle. Faith and strategy must act together. Below, the streets were already being fortified. Volunteers placed barriers, set up safe zones, and formed human chains to evacuate the injured. The people had seen the power of light firsthand, and courage was stirring in their hearts. Suddenly, the sky darkened unnaturally. Clouds twisted into black vortices, and the air hummed with energy. Shamhureş had arrived. His presence bent reality, time slowed in spots, shadows lengthened unnaturally, and the cries of the city's people seemed to echo from multiple directions at once. Kadir's light flared around me, steady and protective. Master, the illusions will be the first wave. He will try to make you doubt, fear, and hesitate. Hold fast to your faith. I took a deep breath, closing my eyes for a moment. Memories of my father, Kadir, and the lessons of patience and surrender filled my heart. I opened my eyes. We are not afraid. We are ready. The first wave hit like a tidal force. Shamhuresh's minions, black-winged creatures with jagged claws and burning eyes, poured into the streets from alleys, rooftops, and underground tunnels. The city seemed to scream with chaos, but the people stood their ground, armed with improvised weapons, prayers, and unshakable determination. I raised my hands, chanting protective verses. The air shimmered, and a barrier of light spread out from me, pushing back the creatures. Those who touched the barrier burned instantly, and screams filled the air. Yet for every creature destroyed, more emerged. Shamhureş had learned from the last battle. Kadir hovered beside me, his radiance cutting through the darkness. Master, you cannot fight them all alone. We must lead them strategically. I nodded. Together, we moved through the streets, directing the citizens. Every building became a choke point, every alley a trap. Light flared from Kadir, igniting street lamps and fire hydrants, creating barriers of searing heat and radiant energy. Shamhureş himself descended, towering and monstrous. He bent time around him, and the city seemed to warp with each step he took. Buildings stretched, streets twisted, and civilians appeared in impossible locations only to vanish moments later. Hüddam, he bellowed, his voice shaking the air, you cannot protect them all. Your faith will break, and your light will be snuffed. I planted my feet firmly. Faith does not break. We are together, and our light cannot be extinguished. I raised a hand, and the ground beneath Shamhureş began to glow with sigils of binding. The city itself seemed to respond, and a wave of energy shot up, forcing him back. But Shamhureş roared and the reality around us bent violently. Time fractured again, children froze mid-step, fires reversed and reignited, and the sounds of the city twisted into a cacophony. Kadir's light flared, stabilizing reality around us. Master, focus. Anchor yourself to the present. I clenched my fists and whispered a prayer, Lord, protect these people, give me strength, and let our light endure. My body trembled, the energy of the city flowing through me. The seals of patience, light, and time, though scattered, resonated within my heart, harmonizing with Kadir's presence. Shamhuresh's attack intensified. Lightning cracked the sky, shadow tendrils tore through buildings, and the ground split. Civilians screamed and fled, but I called out, hold your ground. Pray. Trust in the light. Kadir and I combined our powers. Light beams struck Shamhureş, and the sigils of the city flared, creating chains that wrapped around his limbs. He roared in fury, striking the ground with a fist that shattered streets. Yet the people, inspired by our resolve, formed a human shield, chanting and praying. Their faith strengthened our magic, amplifying the light and protective barriers. For a moment, the impossible seemed possible. Shamhureş staggered, the first real sign of weakness in his relentless assault. Master, now! Kadir shouted. I closed my eyes, recalling the lessons of patience, surrender, and strategy. By faith and by the people's will, we bind you, Shamhuresh. I thrust my hands forward, channeling the combined energy of light, patience, and time through the city's sigils. Beams shot out, wrapping Shamhuresh in a lattice of radiant chains. His roars echoed like thunder, but for the first time, he could not move freely. The city held its breath. From every rooftop, alley, and street, the people reinforced the light, adding their faith to the lattice. Kadir hovered above, directing the flow. The monstrous form of Shamhuresh twisted and writhed, black smoke spilling into the sky, but the chains held. Finally, with a scream that split the heavens, Shamhuresh was forced to retreat, his body dissipating into shadow. The vortices above collapsed, and time began to flow normally again. The streets of New Haven, though scarred and battered, were intact. I fell to my knees, exhausted, Kadir's light warm around me. The citizens cheered, some crying, some praying, all united in awe. I whispered a prayer of thanks. Lord, you have guided us. Protect these people, and give them strength to rebuild. Kadir landed beside me, his radiant form dimming to a gentle glow. Master, the battle is won, but the war continues. Shamhuresh will return, and his next attack will be stronger. But now, the people know they are not powerless, and their faith is unbreakable. I nodded, my chest heavy with fatigue but light with resolve. Then we prepare. We train. We strengthen. And when he returns, he will face not just us, but a city united in light and faith. The sun broke fully through the clouds, reflecting off the harbor, streets, and faces of those who had endured. For the first time in weeks, a real sense of hope filled New Haven. The city of New Haven woke to a fragile peace. Streets bore the scars of the previous night, shattered glass, twisted metal, and burned pavement marked the battleground. Yet the people moved with purpose, clearing debris, helping the wounded, and quietly whispering prayers. The victory over Shamhuresh's minions had given them courage, but none of us knew how long it would last. Kadir and I stood on the roof of the customs tower, overlooking the harbor where the morning light reflected off the water like molten silver. Master, Kadir said, his voice steady but alert, Shamhuresh may have been forced to retreat, but his shadows linger. Not all of his minions were destroyed. Some remain, hiding in the corners of this city, watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I tightened my fists, feeling the weight of responsibility settle once more on my shoulders. Then we must find them before they strike. The city's safety is in our hands. Every shadow we uncover is one less threat. We move through the streets like ghosts, silent but vigilant. The city's skyline loomed above, a mix of historic brick buildings and modern skyscrapers, each street corner potentially hiding danger. Civilians watched from windows and doorways, their eyes filled with hope and fear in equal measure. The first signs came in the subway tunnels. Shadows flickered along the walls, twisting unnaturally. Whispers echoed in the tunnels, voices not of this world, calling our names, trying to lure us into traps. Stay focused, Master, Kadir warned, these are illusions. Shamhuresh seeks to break your mind before he can strike with force. I took a deep breath, closing my eyes briefly to center myself. The memories of the battles past, the prayers of the people, and Kadir's unwavering presence anchored me. By faith, these shadows have no power over me. We pressed forward. The subway tunnels twisted and turned, seeming longer than they should have been. At the deepest station, a massive figure emerged from the darkness, a shadowy wraith, formed from the remnants of Shamhuresh's fallen minions. Its form shifted constantly, eyes glowing red, teeth jagged like broken glass. You cannot escape, Hüddam, it hissed, voice echoing unnaturally in the tunnels. You think the city's hope can save you? We are all around you. I raised my hands, invoking the protective verses. A sphere of light enveloped me and Kadir, pushing back the darkness. The wraith lunged, and I felt the air itself resist its form. Kadir hovered beside me, his light flaring, casting long shadows that twisted and dissolved the wraith's limbs. The battle in the tunnels was unlike any before. Each strike I made seemed to ripple through reality, and each piece of darkness destroyed immediately reformed somewhere else. Kadir's presence was crucial, guiding the light, stabilizing the fragments of reality that Shamhuresh's magic tried to distort. I realized the lesson of this encounter: the enemy would not be defeated through force alone. Patience, strategy, and faith had to guide every step. Kadir, we need to draw them into the open. The city's energy will amplify our power, I said. We retreated, leading the wraith and its kin toward the city square, where the people could unite in prayer and support. The shadows pursued relentlessly, but as we emerged into the open, the morning sun struck the plaza. Light hit the shadows directly, and they hissed and recoiled. The citizens, inspired by our courage, began chanting prayers aloud. The combined energy of their voices, our light, and faith coalesced into a radiant force. The shadows shrieked and twisted, unable to withstand the unity of belief and divine protection. One by one, they disintegrated into mist, leaving the plaza bathed in sunlight. I collapsed to my knees, exhausted, as Kadir landed beside me. Master, the first wave is gone, but the darkness will return. Shamhuresh will not give up. He will seek to infiltrate the hearts of the people next, not just attack physically. I looked around at the faces of the citizens, their eyes bright with hope despite the devastation. Then we teach them to fight with faith, to protect their hearts as fiercely as we defend the streets. Shadows can be banished, but doubt is a more dangerous weapon. Kadir nodded. We must train them, prepare them, and remain vigilant. Shamhuresh's next attack will be more personal. He will try to break the trust between us, between the people and their faith. I rose, feeling the weight of responsibility heavier than ever. The battle was not just physical, it was spiritual, mental, and emotional. And in this city, with Kadir at my side, I realized we had the greatest advantage: the people themselves were a force of light waiting to be awakened. As we looked toward the horizon, dark clouds gathered again, but this time I did not feel fear. Let him come, I whispered. We are ready. We are united. Faith will be our shield, and the light will guide us. The stage was set. The next encounter with Shamhuresh would test everything we had built: the city, our faith, our strategy, and the bond between master and companion. And I knew, deep in my heart, that New Haven was ready to stand against the shadows, no matter the cost. The city of New Haven trembled under a quiet tension. Streets were calm now, but the air felt heavy, as if the entire city held its breath. The people moved cautiously, wary of the shadows that still lingered in the corners. Kadir and I patrolled the streets from above, perched atop the Metropolitan Tower, the skyline stretching around us in glass and steel. Master, Kadir said, his eyes scanning the horizon, Shamhuresh has withdrawn physically, but his influence grows stronger. He will test the hearts of the people, using fear and doubt as his weapons. This is his true strength. I clenched my fists. Then we must protect not just the city, but the hearts within it. Fear can be fought like any physical enemy, but only if we remain steadfast. As dusk fell, the first signs of Shamhuresh's infiltration became clear. Shadows moved unnaturally across windows, distorting the faces of the citizens into grotesque visions. Parents saw their children in danger that didn't exist. Friends whispered betrayals that were lies. Confusion spread faster than the darkness itself. I took a deep breath. Kadir, we can't fight him directly yet. We need to anchor the people's faith. Gather them in the central plaza, let the light of the city meet the light of their hearts. We descended into the streets, Kadir's radiance illuminating the path. People emerged cautiously, drawn by the calm strength in my voice and the brilliance of Kadir's light. I raised my hands and spoke, "Brothers and sisters, your hearts are stronger than the shadows. The enemy thrives on doubt and fear, but together, with faith, we are invincible. Stand with me. Pray with me. Let your voices banish the darkness." The city's voices rose, a chorus of determination and belief. Shadows writhed and hissed at the sound, trying to twist the minds of those who spoke, but the words of faith, the prayers repeated aloud, formed a shield stronger than steel. Shamhureş revealed himself then, not in form, but through perception. A cold, serpentine whisper slithered through the plaza, "You think your faith is strong, Hüddam? I have walked inside every heart here, and I know their fears. They will crumble." I closed my eyes briefly, centering myself. No. Faith is not just hope, it is action. We act through prayer, through light, through courage. You may touch the mind, but not the heart that chooses God. Kadir stepped forward, and a beam of pure radiance shot into the sky. The shadows recoiled, hissing, their edges burning as though struck by fire. Yet Shamhureş's voice persisted, "Faith alone will not stop me. Your friends, your city, they will betray you. Your companion, he will falter." I looked at Kadir. His light was steady, unwavering. I placed my hand on his shoulder. "We do not falter. Together, we are the light." The shadows surged again, forming monstrous shapes. Figures emerged that mimicked loved ones, friends, and allies, but twisted into grotesque forms. One shadow appeared as my father, accusing me of failure. Another took the form of a child crying for help, though I knew no child was in danger. "Do not trust what you see," Kadir said, his voice firm. "These are illusions. Focus on what is real, the hearts that remain steadfast, the prayers that reach heaven, and the light you carry within." I closed my eyes and began to recite the protective verses aloud. Light radiated from my chest, a beacon of clarity. Shadows screamed, twisting and bending, but they could not break through. The illusions faltered and began to fade, dissolving like smoke in the wind. Shamhureş's voice now rang with fury, "You think you have defeated me? I am patience and doubt, shadow and fear. I dwell in every mind that questions." I clenched my fists and shouted, "No. You are only a test, and I have been prepared. My faith is my shield, my heart is my weapon, and the people who choose light are my allies." A radiant shockwave burst from Kadir, sweeping across the plaza. Shadows shrieked and scattered. The illusions shattered into dust. Citizens, inspired and emboldened, lifted their voices in prayer and defiance. The darkness recoiled, unable to withstand the collective faith of the people. Kadir turned to me, his radiant form steady and calm. "Master, he has tested the city's hearts, but he cannot win where unity and faith are strong. Yet he is not gone. His next attack will be more personal, aimed directly at you." I nodded, feeling the weight of destiny pressing upon me. Shamhureş would not relent, but I had learned a vital lesson: light and faith, when combined with strategy and courage, could repel even the deepest darkness. The city was safe for now, but the storm was not over. I knew the coming battle would test not just my strength, but the resilience of every heart in New Haven, and the bond between Kadir and me. "We prepare, Kadir. For the next time, he will come for more than fear. He will come for the very soul of this city. And we will be ready." The sun set, casting long shadows, but the light within us, and within the people, glowed brighter than ever. Night fell over New Haven like a velvet curtain, but there was no peace. The streets were silent, almost eerily so, as if the city itself were holding its breath. I stood atop the Metropolitan Tower with Kadir, the wind tugging at our clothes, the city lights reflecting in our eyes. The calm of chapter 9 had vanished. Shamhuresh was coming, and this time it would not be through illusions or whispers. "Master," Kadir said, his luminous form flickering with urgency, "he will strike directly. His fury has grown. This is the moment he tests you personally. He will exploit every weakness you have, every fear, every hesitation." I nodded, my heart pounding. I knew that no shield, no seal, no light could fully protect me if I faltered. I had trained, I had prayed, and yet, fear still lingered. Suddenly, the air thickened. The shadows around the city's tallest buildings twisted unnaturally, coiling like serpents. A chill ran down my spine. Then I heard it, a low, resonant laugh that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Shamhuresh had arrived. From the darkness of the streets, a figure emerged, towering, cloaked in an aura of black flame, its eyes glowing crimson. Shamhuresh's presence was suffocating. The wind stilled, the city's ambient noise vanished, and even the lights seemed dimmed by his dark aura. "Hüddam," he hissed, voice slithering into my mind, "you think the city's faith can protect you? You are alone. Your friend is powerful, yes, but he cannot shield your soul from me. Tonight, you will learn the true weight of despair." I clenched my fists and whispered a prayer under my breath. Kadir floated closer, his light a steady beacon. "Do not fear, Master. Together we face him. Stand firm, and let faith guide every step." Shamhuresh moved with blinding speed. One moment he was at the far end of the street, the next he was before us, flames licking the walls. The city's asphalt cracked beneath him. I raised my hands, calling upon every ounce of patience and light I had cultivated. "In the name of God, I will not falter." I shouted, my voice carrying across the empty streets. A circle of radiant energy expanded outward, pushing back the shadows and illuminating the buildings in a brilliant glow. Shamhuresh roared, and the sky darkened as though night had swallowed the stars. From the darkness, creatures emerged, less illusions now, more physical, more violent. Black-winged entities, jagged and razor-like, swarmed around him. They clawed at the walls, shrieked at the windows, and surged toward us in waves. Kadir moved swiftly, his light slicing through the creatures, burning them to ash the moment they touched him. "Master, we must hold him at the plaza. There is power there, ancient energy that will help us." We descended from the tower and ran through the city streets, clearing civilians along the way. Even though fear gripped the hearts of many, I saw sparks of courage as some joined us, chanting prayers and raising their voices against the darkness. The human spirit was more resilient than Shamhuresh anticipated. We reached Central Plaza, the heart of New Haven. Kadir's light expanded, bathing the plaza in an almost divine brilliance. Shamhuresh's shadows shrieked in frustration. "You cannot hold me here. This is your undoing." I planted my feet firmly and extended my hands, calling on every verse, every prayer, every seal I had learned. Light erupted from me, forming a protective dome over the plaza. The shadow creatures screamed and collided with it, dissolving into black smoke. Shamhuresh grew larger, feeding on the chaos. The ground trembled under his weight, buildings shook, and a vortex of shadow formed above him. His voice thundered, "Hüddam. Your light is meaningless. Fear is eternal. You cannot escape the weight of despair." I stepped forward, my voice steady despite the fear, "No. Despair has no hold where faith burns bright. Your power is nothing before the unity of hearts that choose light." Kadir joined my side, radiance intensifying until it nearly blinded the night sky. He whispered, "Now, Master. Focus on the people, the prayers, the hope you have nurtured. This is the moment we end his tyranny over the city." I closed my eyes and let every prayer, every word of faith, every act of courage flow through me. The light from Kadir and me merged, forming a pillar that shot upward, piercing the vortex of shadow above Shamhureş. He howled, a sound of pure rage and disbelief, as the combined light of human courage and celestial power struck him. The ground split, the shadows recoiled, and Shamhureş writhed, his body flickering between solid and smoke. Impossible. How can mere mortals, how can one Hüddam, stand against me? Faith, I answered, opening my eyes. Faith is stronger than darkness. Unity is stronger than fear. Your reign ends tonight. With one final surge of power, Kadir and I focused all energy into the pillar of light. Shamhureş screamed, his form tearing, until with a final, echoing wail, he vanished. The shadows dissipated, the sky cleared, and the city breathed again. The citizens stepped out from their hiding places, cheering, praying, embracing one another. Tears streaked my face, not from exhaustion, but from relief and gratitude. Kadir floated beside me, his light now calm but still radiant. Master, the city is safe. For now. But remember, evil never truly dies. It waits. And the one who protects must always be ready. I nodded. Then we prepare. Together, we will guard New Haven. Together, we will ensure that hope always rises, even in the darkest nights. Above us, the first light of dawn began to break over the skyline, and I knew that the city, the people, and even I had survived the greatest trial so far, but the war was far from over. Dawn broke over New Haven, spilling soft amber light across the streets scarred by the previous night's battle. Buildings bore deep cracks, windows were shattered, and the plazas and alleys were littered with remnants of shadow creatures. The city felt both fragile and resilient, a reflection of the people who lived in it. Kadir and I stood atop the roof of City Hall, surveying the aftermath. His radiant form was calmer now, but his presence still hummed with celestial energy. I ran my hands over my face, exhausted yet vigilant. The city had been spared, but I could feel the lingering whispers of Shamhureş, like dark currents hidden under calm waters. Master, Kadir said quietly, he is not gone. He only retreats. His fury has been checked, yes, but his mind will not rest. He will return stronger, and he will exploit every weakness we showed last night. We must prepare, not just for his attacks, but for what he may try to turn within the people themselves. I nodded, knowing he spoke the truth. The citizens of New Haven had witnessed horrors, and even as hope surged, fear would linger. Their prayers had given us power, but fear could be a fertile ground for darkness to regrow. I resolved silently to guide them, to be more than a warrior, also a beacon of patience and faith. The first responders and volunteers had already begun clearing debris. Families emerged from hiding, some holding hands tightly, others sobbing in relief. Street vendors cautiously returned to their stalls, children peeked from windows, and the city, weary yet determined, began to breathe again. I moved among them, offering words of reassurance, teaching that courage wasn't the absence of fear but the persistence despite it. We are safe, a mother whispered, clutching her child, thanks to Master Hüddam and his companion. I smiled faintly, but my heart remained heavy. The cost of victory was never only the enemy defeated, it was the scars, the fear, and the knowledge that the darkness always waited to return. Kadir hovered beside me, voice calm but firm, there is more to prepare. I have sensed Shamhuresh's influence in the city's underbelly. Certain individuals may act under his whispers, unknowingly spreading discord. You must identify them, guide them, or neutralize the threat before it grows. I clenched my fists, determination hardening in my chest. Then we begin. New Haven may have survived the night, but this city will never face the shadows alone. I will protect it. We will protect it. We walked through the streets together, the sunlight growing stronger, touching faces scarred by fear but glowing with hope. Every corner I turned reminded me of the fragility of life, but also the resilience that faith and unity could inspire. Yet beneath the surface, I felt it, the cold pulse of Shamhuresh's presence. Like a shadow lingering behind closed doors, like a whisper in a crowded room. He had been thwarted, yes, but his mind was patient. He would return, and when he did, it would not be with the same tactics. He would strike subtler, more insidious, exploiting what we valued most, our bonds, our hope, and even our faith. "Master," Kadir said softly, "tonight was only the first test. We have seen what he can do, and what faith can do in response. But the war is far from over. Rest if you can, but prepare your heart and mind. The next challenge will be unlike any other." I looked over the city, the rising sun bathing New Haven in warmth. The streets, the people, the towers, they were fragile, yes, but they were ours to protect. And with Kadir by my side, I felt ready to face whatever darkness might come next. "Then we prepare," I said, voice steady. "And when he returns, we will meet him not just with power, but with patience, faith, and unyielding courage." The light of day grew stronger, pushing shadows to the edges, but deep in the alleys and the cracks of the city, I knew whispers of darkness still lingered. And I knew, without a doubt, that our vigilance would be tested again.